pretty good St. Louis game last night. St. Louis and Dallas. So Jordan Kyrou is having an unbelievable season. He had another goal and an assist last night. They beat Dallas 2-1 in the very, very last minute. So that's 5 goals and 6 assists in his last 5 games. He's up to 14 goals and 22 assists, which is 36 points in 32 games. And he's still available in 32% of ESPN leagues. Now, it's possible he doesn't keep this up. But, man, he's really having a heck of a season this year. So I would keep an eye on him if you haven't already. And Jordan Binnington, he picked up his 11th win. He's been kind of up and down numbers-wise, I think. But the Blues look like a really good team this year. I mean, no doubt. Like I said, even though it took him to the very, very last minute to win, Binnington only gave up 1 goal last night. And St. Louis has got some guys that can score. Maybe not on the Colorado level, but they are 6th in goals for per game. What is it, about 3.5? I think it's 3.44 or something like that. I think it's 3.44 goals per game. So they can score with just about anyone. They're going to be a team that, come playoff time, is going to be tough to deal with. And I think Moritz Seider has got to be the slight favorite to win the Calder Trophy at this point. And I know Lucas Raymond is at the sports books. I still think he is the favorite. And if you're getting really good odds on Seider to win the Calder Trophy, I think you might want to take a bet on him. Because, I mean, I know, listen, Raymond's cooled off a bit. There's no question about that in terms of goal scoring. He's still at 10 goals. I don't think he's scored a goal in his last dozen games. Not to say he can't, you know, start a streak again towards the middle and end of this season. So he can go on another hot streak. But he's got 20 assists, so he's still picking up some assists. But Seider also has 20 assists. He's got 3 goals on the year. But he's got 61 blocks, 55 hits, and 67 shots on goal. And now you can't, listen, you can't pick the Rookie of the Year or any award or say this player is playing better than that player on numbers alone. You definitely can't do it. So stats are not everything. But at the same time, if you do, I mean, I've seen a couple of Red Wings games. I haven't been able to catch a lot of them, but I've seen a couple of them. And your eyes are always drawn to Seider rather than Raymond. And to be honest with you, I was surprised. I thought my eyes would be drawn more towards Raymond, but Seider is just unbelievable. He is a beast. And it looks like they got they're one of their top defensemen or the top defenseman for the next decade. I think Detroit's going to be pretty good here in the next, year or 2, 3, something like that, and over the course of the next decade, possibly, depending on how these guys turn out. But I think he's got to be the slight favorite. I just don't know what you can point to say that other than the goal scoring. I mean, man, I think Seider has the numbers to compete with Raymond. Again, 20 assists to 20 assists, the blocks, the defensive presence. I think he's got a shot to win the Calder. Unless Lucas, goes on another tear like he was in the beginning of the year, then it might be Raymond's again. But we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see what happens. But I think both of them have a great future ahead of them. But man, I love the way Seider plays, and I've seen a few highlights of games that I didn't get the opportunity to watch, and he looks like a beast. He really does. Anyways. So on a defenseman, undervalued defenseman, these guys have to be less than 66% rostered in ESPN leagues. So obviously if they're not available in at least a third of the leagues out there, they're not on this list. First up is Noah Dobson on the Islanders. It's his 3rd year, 5 goals, 5 assists, 18 blocks in his last 10 games. But what's interesting about him, in 26 games, he's got 5 goals and 9 assists on the year. So he had 4 assists in his first 16 games. So he had a slow start, but obviously he's coming on really strong. If you believe the Islanders' offense is going to improve, which it should, as the Islanders get healthier, they get their full team back, which they still don't even have their full team back. They should be much better than they are right now. And I think Dobson could be a huge part in them improving. So his offense could only get better and better. And if it does, he's a guy that I think you'd really, really, really want to take a look at. He's got 54 blocks on the year, which is slightly over 2 a game. He's available in just under 72% of ESPN leagues. He's averaging 2.2 fantasy points a game, 57.5 total, but again, he's only played 26 games. That's one guy that you're probably going to want to take a look at. The next is Zack from Vegas. He's also played 26 games. Both of these guys are very, very similar. Whitecloud has 5 goals and 6 assists. Dobson's probably going to have better offensive numbers than Whitecloud. It's possible he doesn't, but he probably will. But he's got 64 blocks on the year, so he's averaging better than 2 a game, 39 hits, 49 shots on goal. And what's interesting is these two guys are, I mean, you wouldn't believe these guys are this identical. Dobson's rostered in 28.6% of leagues. Whitecloud is in 27, rostered in 27.6% of leagues. He's got 57.3 points total. Dobson has 57.5. So you can see how valuable blocks are, obviously, to total points. If you're in head-to-head leagues and total points don't matter, either one of these guys, I think you'll benefit from in the long run, just because they can kind of hit every category. Again, they're not going to have quite the scoring, but they really, I think, make up for it in the amount of blocks they're going to get. Unless you don't need blocks, maybe you need more offense. And there's a couple of guys on this list. Again, Dobson's got 5 goals and 5 assists in his last 10 games. So that's a guy that can really improve your offense possibly moving forward. Erik Johnson's another one. He's got 5 goals and 10 assists in 31 games, 60 shots on goal, 66 hits, and again, 50 blocks. All the guys on this list have 50 blocks or more. He's available in 81% of ESPN leagues. He's averaging 1.9. What's interesting about Erik Johnson, I wouldn't expect, a 40-point season. I'm not so sure he's going to keep up the offensive numbers. Hopefully he'll keep up the blocks, but he hasn't reached double-digit goals since the 2016 season. His career high in points is 39 twice, but he did that way back in 2014. Since it's 27 points. So again, Colorado can score. Obviously, they're averaging pretty good. I mean, it's over 4 goals a game, 4.32 goals a game. So maybe he can keep it up, but I wouldn't bank on it. But again, you're getting him more for the defensive numbers, the 50 blocks, the 66 hits, and again, if he can, score some goals on a fairly regular basis, get some more assists. If he can get 30 points, 35 points, which is possible, he might be a good guy to add to your team too. And he's plenty available. 81% of ESPN leagues he's available in. Again, 1.9 fantasy points his average, so I would say that's pretty good. Next on the list is Mario Ferraro. And if you follow me on Twitter, I've mentioned his name a bunch of times. I just love the guy. He's got 98 blocks on the year. He's 1 block shy of averaging 3 blocks a game. This guy is a beast when it comes to blocking shots. So, and plus he's got 73 hits. He doesn't have very many shots on goal. He's only got 29 shots on goal. He's got 9 assists, 2 goals in 33 games. He's averaging 2.2 because of all the blocks. And he's got 72 fantasy points total. So, again, Whitecloud, Dobson, and Ferraro all average 2.2 fantasy points per game. So it all comes down to what kind of league you're in. If you're in a head-to-head league and you're just going after, you're comparing stats with another player. Ferraro might not be the guy because, you're going to lose shots on goal. You're probably going to lose slight offense. I mean, I know Dobson has 9 assists, and that's the same with Ferraro. But Dobson I feel like is kind of on the way up in terms of his numbers offensively. I don't know if you're going to get much in terms of Ferraro's numbers offensively. You could, but you're probably not going to get many goals. He doesn't shoot much, but you will dominate in blocks, if nothing else. Oh, and I forgot to mention Noah Dobson's birthday was the 7th of January. Yay! 22 years old. Yay! Just thought I'd throw that out there. So yeah, Mario Ferraro is excellent if you want blocks. The next guy, Braden McNabb, also excellent if you want blocks. Ferraro's got 98. McNabb's got 95. But again, you're not going to get much offense from either of those guys. Braden McNabb, 2 goals, 7 assists in 38 games played. You're not going to get much offense out of him. He's got 38 shots on goal. But again, he's got 78 hits, which leads all these guys, and 95 blocks. So he's 3 behind Ferraro, but he's played 5 more games. So, and McNabb is available in 72% of ESPN leagues. Ferraro is available in 42% of ESPN leagues. So all these guys are widely available. Next on the list, Evan Bouchard, 6 goals, 13 assists, 81 shots on goal, which leads all these guys in shots on goal. Edmonton defenseman. We all know Edmonton can score. So Evan Bouchard, great younger player. I think he has the potential to be the best offensive player in this group, and that includes Noah Dobson. But we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Evan Bouchard is 53% available, and he's got a 1.9 fantasy point average and 63 total. But again, that's a guy, 6 goals, 13 assists, 81 shots on goal, 32 hits, 52 blocks. He's kind of got all the numbers you're looking for, right? I mean, obviously you want everything you can get, but he's got some goals, got assists, shots on goal, decent amount of hits, decent amount of blocks. So he kind of fills you up everywhere. So he's another guy that you may want to take a look at. And Cam Fowler, 5 goals, 14 assists, 63 shots on goal, only 21 hits, but 56 blocks, and he's averaging 1.8. What's interesting about Cam is, again, you're not going to get much offense from him. He did have a 40-point season. That was in his rookie year. That was the best scoring year he's ever had. Other than that, he's had a few 30-point seasons. He could possibly get, I mean, he's got 19 points now, so he could get to the 30, maybe 35-point mark. So, if he continues that scoring pace, if he gets possibly to 40, if this is the best year scoring-wise he has, and he keeps up the blocks, I mean, 1.8, 1.9, he's got 65 total points, fantasy points in 37 games. He's available in 43.5% of ESPN leagues. That's another guy that, I think you'd benefit from. Just, add him to your bench. You don't even have to play him, but just pick him up and keep him there so you're safe. If you want to play him a few games, or at least add him to your watch list, add any of these guys to your watch list, but take a look at these guys. I think that these guys could help you out. What's interesting about all these guys is they don't necessarily have the offensive numbers like, say, a Quinn Hughes, for example. But what's interesting about that is that's why I like guys that have a lot of blocks but might not have the offensive numbers. Because, I mean, for example, Quinn Hughes has 26 assists, 28 points in 33 games, 12 points on the power play, 69 shots on goal, only 11 hits and 21 blocks. So if you have a total points league, he's averaging 1.7 fantasy points per game. every single guy that I mentioned on that list is averaging more fantasy points than Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is obviously a very special young defenseman that could be a Norris Trophy candidate for the next decade. Quinn Hughes is the man. Okay, 26 points in 33 games. And again, numbers don't tell the whole story. And we all know how well Vancouver's playing under Bruce Boudreau lately. He could even be doing better than this. I mean, the sky's the limit for him. But again, from a fantasy points perspective, especially from a total points perspective, he's averaging less at 1.7 points per game than any of the previous defensemen I mentioned, because he doesn't get blocks. He's got 11 hits and 21 blocks, and everyone on that list that I mentioned earlier has more. So it's not necessarily about the offense. Get the offense that you can get, but I think you really got to concentrate on the guys that consistently get you a lot of blocks, a lot of hits, and, you know, a decent amount of shots on goal possibly. But if you're in total points, those blocks and hits are going to help. The blocks especially are going to help immensely. So I hope you guys liked the video. Hope that helps. Let me know in the comments if you pick one of these guys up and like where they're headed. And if you want to disagree, and let me know if I missed anybody, which I'm sure I did. There's plenty of other guys out there that you might know of that, who knows, maybe I never even heard of before. So let me know. Appreciate checking out the video. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.